On their approach to the parked Land Rovers, the troops standing on duty quickly readied the two waiting vehicles. They drove in silence to the Parliament buildings. Stopping in the parking lot of the administration building, the deputy commander placed his gun on the Land Rover's dashboard, reached into the glove compartment and took out the military phone.
Chang?
Yes, speaking.
Do you know who this is?
What can I do for you, Deputy Commander?
Look out of your window. It is a beautiful day.
I'll take your word for it.
Dowdy stepped to the nearest window and moved the blinds slightly aside. There the deputy commander stood in his open-top Land Rover. The military presence had caused the passing pedestrians to scatter. Dowdy knew of the deputy commander's reputation. His behavior was well documented from his time in the King's African Rifles. He did his best to blank out his fear.
Why are you spreading lies about me?
I'm not sure what you are referring to.
Do not play games with me. I know what you are doing.
I am simply asking for accountability. If you have done nothing wrong, there is nothing to fear.
I fear nothing.
In that case, you will agree that no one is above the law, and according to the law, you will have an opportunity to defend yourself.
If you do not leave me alone, it could be the death of you.
There was silence, then the unmistakable laugh of the deputy commander rang out loud and clear. If it had come from anyone else's lips, it would have been infectious.
Oching, have you forgotten where you are? When you die, I am going to lick your blood from my fingers.
Dowdy had heard enough. Shaking, he replaced the receiver. Duco, who had been listening on the extension, frowned.
That man is mad.
On his arrival at his home, the deputy commander's mood was dark. This was when the major liked him best.
These men in suits are nothing more than snakes slithering around in the grass.
The deputy commander slammed his fist on the table.
To be attacked by one is an insult.
The deputy commander's head was pounding in unison with the beating blades of the overhead fan.
I want to kill something. You mean kill someone? Why not let me kill someone, then bring you their head?
The major handed the deputy commander a tumbler of whiskey, then lit a cigarette. Plumes of gray smoke floated up and evaporated into the moist night air. The major caught an unsuspecting mosquito and squeezed it between his thumb and forefinger, then rolled its body up and flicked it away. The two men sat in silence. It did not take long for the whiskey to have the required effect. The deputy commander's jaw relaxed, and his mouth dropped open. Sleep now allowed him to enter the realm of the spirit world. The major loosened the deputy commander's grip on his glass, sat down in a nearby chair, put his feet up and waited for the deputy commander to hear whispered words from the ancestral ether. The deputy commander stood looking at the landscape of his childhood. Banafumu stood before him. In the days of their youth, many had feared Banafumu, and with good reason. Those who had been cursed by him seldom lived the month. It was considered a sign of bravery for any youth of the village to claim a remnant from one of the sacrificed animal skeletons that hung from the rafters of his hut. The skull bones were sacred talisman, which would bring protection to those who wore them. The major wrapped his fingers round the smooth rodent skull he wore interwoven around his dog tags. The deputy commander's wife stepped onto the veranda with a plate of food. The major dismissed her with a shake of his finger. She left without saying a word. The deputy commander's head had fallen backwards and was leaning against the edge of his chair. His body twitched slightly as he continued to mutter. Finally, he woke up in a cold sweat, his heart racing.
What did you see?
The major asked, in the hope of violence. He longed to be unleashed on these southern upstarts who beneath their black skin were as white as any Mzunga. The deputy commander's voice was still groggy.
Bana took me to see my mother. She was picking cassava. She was young and strong.
The two men smiled at her memory.
The nearby river burst its banks and flooded everywhere. The water became the cooler of blood. Crocodiles swam among many bodies and feasted on their flesh. The crocodiles pushed me to shore. I climbed out of the water and saw a white path of crushed skulls. I know what I must do, and you my brother in arms, will walk with me.
The deputy commander stood up, removed his flick knife from his belt and opened it. The major offered him his wrist. The deputy commander made a small cut on the major's wrist, then one on his own. Using their blood, each made a mark on the other's forehead, then licked their fingers clean. The major was first to speak.
I will crush the bones of your enemies. Then let Ita begin. The gods of our ancestors will make us strong. We will give our enemies no escape. It is time to feed the crocodiles.
The deputy commander then reached over, picked up the military phone and dialed the Ochieng household. Putting his hand over the receiver, he said,
He will not see us coming.
Zaza answered the telephone.
The Ochangs,